Yeah, we're like little pirates out there.
Little pirates, really little boat, and really big fish on episode 47, brought to you by reelsandtackle.com.
Welcome to the Telltale Fisherman Podcast, where avid anglers share the story of their best fishing day ever to inspire yours. Now it's time for another epic adventure. So here's your host, John Woodson.
All right, welcome to the show. Today's guest is Patrick Patterson, who's coming to us from sunny South Florida. Pat, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
Oh, doing very well, and excited to talk with you today about all those cool fish you get to catch down there in South Florida. We've already chatted with a guest or two from your area who fish for the peacocks, and I know you do as well. So, yeah, that's something a lot of us are really intrigued by and would love to get down there and catch a few. So I'm anxious to hear what your take is on those. But before we, jump into the fishing, how about we just talk about you for a minute and have you tell us what you do between fishing trips?
All right, sounds good. Well, when I'm not fishing, I'm working, and when I'm working, I'm a tattoo artist.
Oh, how cool. So yeah. I'm thinking that you were a good artist before that you were an accomplished drawer and, had a lot of practice before you kind of transitioned into live body art. Is that how that progression typically goes?
I mean, typically you have a pretty decent art background, and then, someone takes you on as an apprentice based off of your art, just, your mentality and drive and all that.
So is it a little scary the first time you actually do one on a person, with that permanent ink, is your hand a little shaky?
It was scary probably the first 100 times, you know what I mean? It's, it's always a little weird, putting that on someone for life, but it's really rewarding that, they trust you to do that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So are you the master of the fish tattoo?
I don't know if I'm the master of the fish tattoo, but I mean, I definitely get to do a few really cool ones here and there. I work with a lot of guys that fish as well and do a lot of fishing tattoos as well, so it's really cool.
Oh man, yeah, I was going to say in your neck of the woods down there with all the epic fishing you have, I would bet there's more than a few folks who are interested in cool fishing tattoos. So you'd be the guy for it.
Definitely.
Oh man, well obviously love fishing, and you even get to incorporate it in your art sometimes. That's really cool. But let's just talk a little bit about some of that fishing you do get to do down there, and what your favorite types of fishing are.
Well, primarily I like to do bass fishing. I do a lot of the local lakes around here, Lake Clark Shores, Lake Osborne, Lake Ida, and when I get the chance, I drive out to Okeechobee and try and fish out in Okeechobee as much as I can. It's like only about 50-mile drive, but
yeah,
I only get to fish kind of like twice a week on my days off, so I got to kind of like choose where to go and how far I want to travel and stuff like that. And I also get to fish another really cool place. It's the Loxahatchee Wildlife Refuge. It's a cool little spot as well.
Oh, neat. So that's kind of as you're getting into the Everglades. I mean, is it sort of on the border of the Everglades?
Kind of like it's like the northern part of the Everglades. It's in Palm Beach County, so it's not super far south. It's kind of like a big Everglades flat that's just west of Palm Beach County and 441 and stuff like that. And there's a big kind of rim canal that goes around the whole reserve. And it's pretty good distance. It stretches all the way from Palm Beach down to Coral Springs, and it does like a big loop and comes all the way back to the backside of it. Could be real rewarding some days, or it could be a real grind. It's fishing.
Yep, absolutely. Now, before just a minute ago, you said bass fishing is what you like to do best. Now, in most parts of Florida, when you say bass, you're talking about largemouth bass. But down there, it's not just that one species. So I take it you do both largemouth and peacock bass fishing, right?
Yeah, I love to go for the peacocks. Get like when I fish the local chain, Osborne and Lake Clark Shores and Ida, you'll get lucky to catch some of those when you're artificial fishing. And then when you have a real good day, you'll get some live bait and get out there and start getting some good spots and catching the peas. And, you catch some clown knives in between too with the live bait and everything. And, that's really cool. The peas fight real cool. They're real bright, beautiful, and it's real awesome fish to get.
Oh, yeah. You sent us a few pictures of you with peacock bass that we're going to be sharing. And, man, just some spectacular looking fish. And we're looking forward to sharing those pictures with everybody when we release the episode here. But
awesome.
Yeah, so live bait fishing for those kind of fish, and we talked. You and I had talked a little bit about this before, but you see Captain Kevin down there on occasion going through those Lake Ida canals. He was on a previous episode of the show, Captain Kevin Cannon. Yeah, y'all are getting on the good fish, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're super fortunate to have such an awesome fishery. It's sometimes you get to go a little further south and there's even more chances for really great peacocks when you get down Broward County and Miami. And, fishing around Broward County, you could go out and snakehead fishing as well, which is another awesome species we get to chase around when chance arises.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about those and where you find them and how you like to target them.
Pretty much down around like the Weston and Broward area and the canals and even a lot of the like little local lakes and the neighborhoods and stuff like that. You'll catch these snakeheads or bullseye snakeheads, and they're kind of like a long, slender kind of fish. I mean, they can get pretty chunky, but some people like confuse bowfins for snakeheads, but they definitely look way different.
Yeah,
they're real cool. When you go chasing them, they like to go after topwater a lot, like a lot of like frogs and stuff like that, like buzz frogs. And, ripping them across the surface and. They'll come up and wake in behind them and just snatch them real good, or you can get them flipping under brush piles and stuff like that too sometimes.
So that's actually that's a pretty exciting bite then to go after those snakeheads on topwater, I suspect.
Oh yeah, it's real cool watching them come up after. Because they're usually real good wake. You can kind of anticipate it.
Man, that's pretty awesome. And then I suppose you do a little bit of salt fishing from time to time, as I understand. We're gonna talk about here in a minute, but just kind of generally, what saltwater fishing do you have available down there for the folks who aren't familiar with the area?
Palm Beach County, you get it all. You can go out chase dolphin on the right time. You can get sailfish during the winter real good, and pretty much get one here or there through the year. Get a lot of wahoo bites, and your typical bottom fish, snapper, and go chase cobias and stuff like that when this time is right. It's really awesome.
Yeah, and you've got great inshore fishing as well. Do you get to do much of that?
I don't get to do too much inshore. Most of the time I stick to like bass fishing a lot. That's kind of my number one thing. I've done a little bit of it. I just never really put the time into doing that a ton, you know what I mean? Which is probably pretty weird for being like super South Florida growing up and everything. But
well, I don't know. It's a classy problem to have all of those different fish to chase and not enough time to do it. But
yeah, ain't so much to do.
yeah. No, you got a lot of great options for sure.
But I try to get offshore when the weather's right. I got a 20-foot sport craft that I own, and when it's right and I have someone to go out with, I don't always have friends to go out with. I can't really go offshore alone. It's not the best idea,
Yeah.
But when we get a chance, we go out there and try to get into. I really like trolling for wahoo. That's my number one favorite thing to do when I'm out there. And then, of course, bottom fishing after that. So we like to chase. We do a little bit of high-speed trolling for them and run. Up in Palm Beach, so we'll run from Palm Beach County down to pretty much like Boca and try and hook up from there and then bottom fish back up.
So how far of a distance is that you'll cover once you get out of the inlet and back?
Maybe like 30 miles or so.
Okay.
Give or take, definitely going up and back. Like, we'll get out right about sunrise and start trolling. And then we'll get done trolling about 9 or 10 o'clock, and start bottom fishing from there. And we're just in Boca by then.
Yeah.
So it's a good couple hour zigzagging back and forth.
Yeah. Well, that's a nice little trip on a 20-foot boat out on the big pond there.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I love going out.
Well, I understand, and we're going to take a quick break here, but when we get back, that you're going to tell us an epic saltwater fishing story. So everybody hang tight, and we'll be right back.
If you park your boat on an incline, you have to be careful to make sure it stays where you drop it. A wheel ring chock for wheeled trailer jacks is a big help. They're inexpensive, and they make sure that the wheel stays on a block if you elevate the jack. I use it with my boat all the time. And if you want to check it out, go to tell.fish/gear in your browser. We have a link to it there.
Okay, we are back with Pat Patterson, and we are now going to talk about the most epic day of fishing he's had. And I understand it involves saltwater, right?
That's right.
So was this right down there in your area where you went fishing out of?
Yeah, right out of, we actually went out of Boynton Beach here in Palm Beach County.
Okay, cool. So offshore fishing then, obviously, and what was the plan that day?
Well, actually, we woke up and we went on the drift boat that morning, and kind of just standard drift boat fishing, a little bottom fish here and there. And once we were done with that, we noticed, it was super flat out, and I have just a little 13-foot Boston whaler that I had at the time, and we were like, dude, we could just come out here in the whaler. People come out here in kayaks and little boats all the time. Let's just come out here and get after it ourselves.
Well, so this is cool. So you go out on the head boat for what, 5-6 hours, something like that?
About 5 hours, yep.
And then come back in, and you're ready for round 2 and go grab your boat and head back out on the ocean. Man,
we got our
that's
boat.
Hardcore.
And, Yeah, because it was kind of slow, and we would have taken the little one out in the morning because we thought it was going to be a little bumpier out there than it was. So once we got out on the drift boat, we were like, oh man, we could have just taken the little thing out and done this ourselves.
So the bottom fishing is not doing much for you, but so what had you thinking that there might be something else going on?
Well, I mean, I have all the trolling stuff. We had a couple trolling rods, and so we shot out the inlet, and we're like, you want to give it a shot for a little while? We could troll, because we shoot out the inlet and head south to a certain area, then we kind of start bottom fishing from there back up.
Oh, okay.
So we figured we would just shoot out and kind of troll up until the fishing area, and if we get hit, we get hit,
Yeah, absolutely. So did you take the time to get frozen bait and rig it up ballyhoo? That's what I'm trying to think of. I mean, did you do all that, or were you just trolling lures?
Yep. No, we had actually got some ballyhoo that we had, and got that on a like a red skirt, and just kind of put it out there with another like purple and black skirt, and we were trolling about 300 foot of water, back and forth, 3 to 1, about 185 feet or so, and just zigzagging back and forth.
Behind a 13-foot Boston whaler.
Behind a 13-foot Boston whaler, that's right. We're like little pirates out there.
There you go. Well, I assume that something came up to investigate that red-skirted bait.
That's it, yeah. We were trolling along, and I was like, I feel like we're going, maybe we could go a little faster, you know what I mean? So I bumped up the throttle a little bit, and not 2 minutes after that, we had a reel just start screaming, and, I told my buddy to grab the reel, and I started clearing the other line, and I got that line in, and we just kept a little forward motion, and he just started reeling, and we didn't know what we had at first. We're out there super green, not exactly knowing what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I never had really anybody to take me out fishing and show me how to do all this stuff. We are all just kind of flying by night and learning as we go.
Well, apparently that fish didn't mind.
No, I guess he didn't mind what we had out there.
Yeah.
So, we sit there and we're fighting and fighting and fighting. We're like, man, it's staying down. It's going to be, a big king or a wahoo, or, it could be a barracuda. Who knows?
Right.
We're just not too sure, but we're super excited and fighting it for a while. And then it gets up next to the boat, and we both just let out this great yell, it's a wahoo.
Oh man!
And it saw us, and when they see the boat, they like take off again. So
yeah,
it shot back down. So it shot back down, and my friend kept fighting it, and and we're just so happy that it's a wahoo. It's the coolest thing. So we're getting it up next to the boat, and my adrenaline's just pumping, you know what I mean? And this is like the first big fish I'm ever going to gaff or anything like that. And
yeah, and he's half the size of the boat, too.
Yeah, right, half the size of it. So I start like swiping at this fish, like, you know, like not even trying to get it the right way. And I luckily kind of gaff it. And then he kind of comes off the gaff and, you know, like, oh no, we're going to lose this thing, you know. And luckily we kind of got him right next back to the boat, and I got him that time and pulled him up into the boat, and they could have probably heard us from shore yelling, you know what I mean? And, it's funny. My buddy goes, "Are we going to keep it?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're going to keep it, of course."
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's one of the most prized eaten fish in the sea.
Yeah. And, yeah, it was super cool. And after we caught that wahoo, we were, you know, we kind of sat and let the adrenaline wear off for a little bit, and we're just sitting out there floating, laughing it off, having a good time. And I'm just standing on my little whaler, you know, and I see the shadows starting to come towards the boat, and all of a sudden this big whale shark just swims right past the boat, not 5 minutes after we've caught this fish. And it was like a little bigger than the actual boat, and I just like I couldn't get the words out of my mouth to tell my friend like what was coming up towards the boat. And then, you know, he noticed it, and it swam around the boat a couple times and checked us out, and kind of just left after that. So it was just our day, you know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that must be. I've seen pictures, but I can't. It's hard to even imagine what something like that looks like in the water swimming up to you, especially in a 13-foot boat.
Yeah, you know, I'm standing there, you know, you're right on the water, standing on the front deck, and I see this shadow coming, and I'm like, what is that, you know? And I see a little bit of a school of fish, and then this just big whale shark behind it. And I mean, from what I've been told, it's still kind of a small one, because it was only about 14 feet or so, you know. But it was bigger than our boat.
Just a little tiny one. That
was really awesome.
How cool is that? So, you know, here you are. You've got this big wahoo, which I'm taking it you don't have any cooler in the boat, and certainly not a fish box that's meant to house this thing, right?
Yeah, we had like a little 40-quart cooler. You know what I mean? Luckily, it had a bunch of ice in it, so we just like pulled the wahoo into the little like middle of the boat and just dumped the whole cooler of ice on top of it, you know what I mean, to keep it cold while we kind of took it in and bottom fished a little bit. And we just were like, you know, we should just go in. So, you know, we go in and we're showing off our prize to the people on the pier watching us come in like crazy people on our little bitty boat, you know.
Well, that's the most fun part, is to pull up a fish like that out of the boat, right? When you get back on shore and show it off to everybody. Oh man!
Yeah, we pull up to the dock, and everybody's like, "Oh, you guys went out in that?" And we're like, "Yep," and we got this thing right here.
that hushed the Snickers in a hurry, didn't it?
Yeah, they were like, "Oh."
Okay, then. Can I go out with you next time?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that was a pretty interesting scene, trying to maneuver the boat and stand up and fight that fish close quarters
my buddy,
like that.
He actually like just kind of sat down on the back deck and put his feet against the transom and just kind of just worked it in, and he did a really great job. He did it nice and slow, and, you know, we kept a little forward momentum on the boat. And, you know, I mean, I'd talked to a couple people about it and watched a video or two, you know what I mean? But, you know, we're just crazy for even being out there in the first place for a little bitty thing like that. Yeah, it's basically like a glorified John boat, the size of it.
Well, it got the job done that day, didn't it?
Yeah. I've graduated to that 20-footer that I got now since then, and kind of perfected the system a little bit better. But
right. So still out there and still after the wahoo in the big boat now?
Yeah, we got another one this past fall, you know, just before the weather turned, and I've started doing a lot of like high-speed trolling for them, and I'll do it with lures and stuff like that. And we got another one right around 33 pounds.
Oh, nice!
You know, off of a Yozuri Bonita.
Yeah. And so you guys don't actually have to go that far off to get into the stream in the target area for those, right?
Yeah. Yeah, not even too bad. I mean, for the Wahoo around here, we don't even got to get all the way out to the Gulf Stream or anything. I just pretty much go from like 400 foot back out to 85 and just kind of ride the ridge line. That's from pretty much like Jupiter to down to Miami. There's a big like ridge line and a reef line that kind of runs all the way down.
Nice. So is that maybe 2-3 miles offshore, something like that?
Yeah, it's only just a couple miles, just about, just a couple miles, because it gets deep pretty quick here off Palm Beach County.
Yeah, well, I'm jealous. I'm up a little farther north of you up in Orlando, and we got to get, past the 20-mile mark normally to even start thinking about catching wahoo like that. So, little more of a boat ride, but they're out there and definitely worth chasing. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could get after them more often. It's just gets to be a little too sporty for my 20-footer out there.
You definitely got to pick your days.
Yeah.
For sure, but you certainly live in the place to do it. Wow, well, that's awesome. To catch a fish like that off of any boat is a spectacular day, but to do it off of a little Boston whaler and then have a big whale shark surprise at the end, man, what an incredible day that must have been.
Yeah, it was really awesome. It was just a nice little extra prize right at the end to see something like that in the wild. You know, I've seen one in the aquarium and stuff, but just to see it right there swim past your boat, that was really cool.
Oh, man. Well, Pat, that was awesome, and I really appreciate you coming on today and sharing that story with us. Thanks so much.
I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Here at the Telltale Fisherman Podcast, we are looking to record the most epic fishing stories from around the planet. If you are listening to us from outside the U.S., we would love to have you share an epic fishing adventure from your country. Go to www.tell.fish/guest to sign up to be on the show today.
This has been the Telltale Fisherman Podcast. Thanks for sharing another great tale with us. Be sure to check out the show notes page for more info on today's show and the gear we talked about. Keep those lines tight, and we'll catch you next time right here on the Telltale Fisherman Podcast.